Welcome everyone. April 23rd, free training on QiqoChat. Very excited to have you here. The first thing I'll say is that our goal at Kiko is to help people who put on in-person and online events to have another option, another tool that you can apply to your events. We make money when you make money. And if we can't make you look good, then we can't look good. So a lot of the tools and functionality you'll see here is because people said, I need it to be this way. I need it to be that way. So we've tried to build it to make it highly customizable. You'll see there are many different options. We try to be as plain as possible and give you as many options to tailor it for your audience. So Kiko is QiQo, quality in, quality out. There's in software, there's garbage in, garbage out is a phrase, and we just try to flip it, saying, how do we get our participants to put in their best ideas into our meeting that you're facilitating? Because if they can put in their best ideas, then as a group, we can get great ideas out. We follow open space and liberating structures. You'll see a lot of alignment there. And with liberating structures, you have minimal structure to get great quality. So we use a similar mentality. I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Everybody has already come in successfully to this event, and you've clicked join video from main room. So you're all on camera now with me. Once you arrive, you see that there are multiple different breakout spaces that you can go to. Each of these breakout spaces is similar. It has its own link at the top. It has a Zoom meeting that you can join by clicking here. And then it has a notes page. From previous trainings last week, I pasted in some links that people were already asking for so we can get a head start. Please feel free to add your questions that you have to make sure that we get a chance to address them. I'll do a brief overview and then I'll get into all of those questions. This will last 45 minutes, and then 45 minutes into the meeting, approximately 35 minutes from now, people will come in and ask questions, people that have been getting the training last week, so they don't see the intro every time. We're gonna have these trainings every week, so you could feel fully supported and you know that you can get all your questions answered, because this is a new tool for a lot of people, and it's actually always evolving. So there are new things to do on this tool every week based on the suggestions that we heard last week. So if I go to another room, I'll click on room number 1, and now I see my profile icon has moved. It's also still up here because I'm still connected in the main room to Zoom. So I could see that I can click around and you'll see my profile icon is going to follow me. And I see others are clicking around too. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag of a few seconds, but it's not an important lag, because the main thing we want is that when people click join video for the room, the Zoom is going to pop up quickly. So we separated all this updating over here on a separate server, because that can get pretty heavy when you have a big conference. But what we always want is people to be able to connect to Zoom. So this is critical that Zoom pops up when you click that button. Once you click open Zoom in your browser, and it's going to look different in every browser, then Zoom will also give you one more pop-up that'll say, you're already in a Zoom meeting, because we're in the main room right now, connected to Zoom through you. That's how I'm sharing my screen. And it says, do you want to leave this and join the next Zoom meeting? And you would say yes. And then your icon is going to disappear up there, and you're going to be brought over here. As soon as you click that green button, actually, that's when the red dot will appear. And right now, Zoom's overloaded with the number of requests that they're getting. But as they get their service back up and running, we're only going to display that dot once we receive confirmation from Zoom that you've all actually joined the meeting. So right now, we just show the red dot as soon as someone clicks that green button. I'll click cancel there. I'll come back to the main room. So I just got to re-click this just to move my icon back there. But because people will normally be entering that room that they come into, they're not going to need to take those extra steps. So once you are here, this is where you're opening. And then people can head to breakouts. As a facilitator, I can take all of these questions that you've asked here, and I can make them the topics of these breakout rooms. So I'll click admin controls and then set topics for breakout rooms. I'll paste them in and I click save. And now all the topics that you've posted are here. So if we had 100 people, everyone could quickly go and see which discussion they want to have. We'll answer all your topics in the main room. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Set topics for breakout rooms and remove them and click save. So now they're back to the way they were. Something that is also commonly used is set timer. I can say 30 minutes in the breakout rooms. And now everybody at all the different breakout rooms sees the same timer. So then they come back to the main room when the timer runs out. It's not going to bring them back. They'll have to come back on their own. That's the difference between how Zoom runs breakouts and how Kiko runs breakouts. Each of these is a Zoom meeting, or it could be a Zoom webinar, and you get all the functionality of a Zoom meeting and a Zoom webinar there. Each of these Zoom meetings, like the one that we're in right now, also has Zoom breakouts. So just like you've experienced Zoom breakouts in another Zoom meeting, we could break out right here in the main room. We could go into breakouts where, as the facilitator, I could push you out and pull you back. So you've got that Zoom breakouts and you've got Kiko breakouts, so you can use either. And every one of these Zoom meetings that is created by QiqoChat also has those Zoom breakouts. So you can have Zoom breakouts inside a QiqoChat breakout. That's complex and not a lot of people do it, but I have seen it used successfully. Say there's a group of Italian facilitators that meets for an hour and a half every Saturday. Their group has grown from 60 to 80 to 100. Every week it gets bigger and bigger. Everybody's at home. This is a great thing to do in your community if you want, and people just come on. The neat thing of how they do it is that they go into each room and they put in the topic manually. They're also doing that in the garden, which is a very beautiful interface. The one you're seeing here is more of a work and collaborative interface because it's got a Google Doc on the right. You could change out what document is here. So I will show an example of another QiqoChat. I actually have it down here in ours. An example Kiko meeting with, I'll say, with different embedded tools. So I'll open up this one. So it's just an example QiqoChat meeting. Whenever you come to a Kiko meeting or an event, you can use whatever terminology you want. You can call it session, event, conference. We make that customizable. We don't try to make that decision for you. Here's the RSVP page where someone can click RSVP, the date and time, and the title of the event. So we'll click participate. Now we see breakout rooms on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you see a Google Doc. And we have different examples. So here's a Google drawing. So you can embed other tools like this. You can put in a Google presentation. So this can have multiple slides. And you create all these documents on Google Drive yourself, and you control them. So you determine who has access. Then you take the link from Google Drive and you put it into Kiko by clicking edit. And I'll show you how we do that. You can also put in a Google form. And you can have multiple tabs across the top. Notice we only have one document on the right. Here's an example with multiple tabs. You can have a form and a presentation, or however many you want. So you put as many tabs across the top that you want. So this is where we start getting pretty advanced into your event design. How do you want the flow to go? How many tabs do you want people to go through? Are your people tech savvy or not? You can also change this on the fly. So this can be set up ahead of your event, and it can also, I'll show a great event coming up here. Here's the Internet Identity Workshop coming up next week. So they could put in their sponsor logos, click participate. They put in a photo so you can kind of see, this is the event that they held. This is number 30. They held number 29 in person. Here's a photo from it. And here's all their instructions. So you can make it as complex as you want. And the documentation center, you click there, you see something very familiar. So you're helping people realize what they would realize in person. I'm going to stop here and take any questions you have about this collaborative tool. We call them events on Kiko. And again, you can rename them to sessions or conferences or workshops or meetings. But any questions about these breakout rooms, joining Zoom. I'll pause there. And then I'll go into the questions that you've actually written down.
Yeah, I would like to ask, you were about to go to the edit section, and you probably show us in a minute how to change from the Etherpad to a Google Docs presentation, and maybe also how to add the photos there for each separate room now, which we saw on the left from this big event. That looks very nice.
Thank you, Friedrich. This would be a perfect question we can go into right now. So at the top is the name of the event. The people that can edit this event are me and any assistant administrators that I've delegated. Click edit. This is when you create the event. It's very simple. It's not beautiful, but if you take your time, it's going to be very clear. So the topic, the description, the start time, and the duration. You can also link to an event that's not on QiqoChat. So it could be a meetup. It could be an in-person event, for example. I'll click more options here. And there's a lot of options. And when you read it the first time, you say, wow, that's a lot of options. I can't remember all these options, but 3 or 4 of these are going to be helpful for your event. And you're going to know as skilled facilitators which ones are going to be important. So the number of breakout spaces that you want to show, the discussion topics. This is also what we edited manually from the other interface when I just copied and pasted your questions in. So you can edit it over here too. But when you're facilitating a meeting on the fly, you're going to want to use the other part where you can copy and paste it as we go. Here's where you add the breakout, the docs for all your main space in each breakout. So this is the Google Doc for the first main room. This is the Google Doc for the next room, the next room. So just separate it with a new line. And then here's the advanced one where we put multiple tabs. So I put the name of the tab. I'm going to zoom in so you could see it. And all of this is explained. When you click more info, it's all explained here. But this one, I put the name of the tab. I call it form, whatever name you want. And then a colon, just to separate. This is the name and this is the link. This is advanced. And I would say for your first event, no need to do this unless you want to give it a try. And then you scroll all the way to the right. Then you'll see here's the second one. And it's separated with this space right here. And you have the name of the tab called presentation. It could be whatever you want. And then you have a colon. And then you have the link over here. So that's how you separate multiple tabs. And what you would do is set up your event, copy it, save it to your computer, and then maybe there's a day 2, or maybe there's an afternoon where you're going to change all of these. So you configure it, make sure it works, click save it on your computer also, so that when it's time to copy and paste, then you have it set. And if it's the afternoon sessions with the afternoon links, you just paste them all in at the same time. It's not something you would want to be editing during an event if you didn't feel comfortable. So you test it all out before your event, make sure it looks perfect the way you want. Friedrich, did that answer the questions about how do we add the Google Docs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. There's some other things you can change, like if you want to change the word, you don't want it to be called room, you want it to be called table or session. You want to call the main room opening circle or something else. You can change the word participate now. In a few days, we will have these events in 5 languages, but for now you can use a different word because that's a pretty important button you want people to click. Some security and permissions. We'll probably go through this in about 25 minutes when more people come about how do we lock down our events. You can make it so that anyone can join, or you can make it just people who are members of your circle can join. What is a circle on QiqoChat? A circle is a community or a group of people. And a circle has a calendar, and a calendar has many events. A circle has a newsletter. A circle has a member directory. So the circle has all the tools, and then each tool can have many items, such as your calendar can have many events, or your written conversations tool can have many different conversations. So right now we're just looking at the events tool on QiqoChat. It's the most commonly used one. It's the one where you'll make money The others are just helping you make better events. Like written conversations are to help you have better live events, but you can use them on their own too. Okay, any other questions that people want to add right now? And then we'll start going through the list of questions that you have already posted.
I have just one more question. It's related to the one from Friedrich before. Does it mean that in the window, in this box where you put the type of form or document you want to add, to relay, that each line you have is the topic of the room, and then in the next box, the first line would be also related to the first topic you put?
Exactly.
Okay.
Here's a conference happening now with the Linux Foundation. I'm sharing it only because it's a public event. This is day 3 today. You can see how many people are on video at the moment. So they've embedded a QiqoChat blog post, or I call it an article. And that is also one of the tools you have in your circle. You can add blog posts, you can add written conversations. So instead of having Etherpad or Google Docs, they just have something fixed that people cannot edit. And you can see where people are right now. This conference is winding down in about 20 minutes. So at the high point, they had 150 people on Tuesday live. We'll have 500 people in an event next Wednesday and 1,000 a few days after that. I'm going to jump into your questions. How to change from Etherpad to Google Docs. Okay, looks like we got that covered. A basic intro to the terms garden and circle. Excellent. I'm going to put this one on pause. I'm going to come back to garden and circle here, put it down here. Then basic tour, interested in using Jitsi for conferences and seeing if it's durable, and breakout rooms while using Jitsi. We actually have an example down here because we had the same question last week. What is Jitsi? It's an open source alternative to Google Hangouts. It's not as robust as Zoom. It's free and open source. Here's an example with Jitsi. So it's going to be video embedded in the browser. Here we have Zoom and Kiko, and you have to move between your browser and the app of Zoom. This is video inside your browser. Oh, and I guess someone's actually in there. That is Bill, right?
Yeah, I clicked it just early on because I thought that's where we were supposed to go.
Very good. So Bill is testing that out, and you could see I'm in this meeting too. So he and we're actually both testing that meeting out, and you could see the video will be up there. I think that I'm going to close that out so we don't get an echo, but because we're both on audio in both places. But that's where you can have. This is not yet a public option on QiqoChat. We are exploring it, and we're also exploring other options for how do you get browser video. Zoom offers browser video, and I can show that here. Click Help. Open Zoom in the browser here. All right, it'll force us to log in. So it's not something we recommend, but we say go with Zoom in the app because it's going to be the most robust option. There are some limitations with Firefox, Safari, and Internet Explorer, such as you have to use your phone. So if you want to use browser-based Zoom, you actually also have to call in. And if you can't download Zoom for any reason, you can call in and just browse the notes here. So the strongest app is going to be Zoom paired with Kiko, and that's what we recommend. And there's some more options coming soon. They are in development, namely whereby. Oh, yes.
What's on the list for what's in development? Because I'm sure others are facing the situation where some of my clients just are prohibited from using Zoom, and we've got to find a plan B.
Whereby.com is going to be the most robust option that we're looking at. So that's embedded video, whereby.com. And I don't know that it's a consumer-facing app. I think it's only for inclusion in other apps. I don't think they have a separate standalone service. So we can include it, or you could build a different app and include it. It is more expensive in some ways. The cost to us is $1 per person in a room. So right now we would all be $1. And then if we all went into breakouts, it would be another $1 for each of us. And then if we all came back to the main room, it'd be $3 for each of us. What we charge you for Zoom is 60 cents per hour per person, prorated by the minute. That's 1 cent per minute per person. And so with whereby.com, it would be $5 per person. Let's see, it'd be, if it's, let's see, that'll be 3 clicks. So that would be $3. $3 is the same as 5 hours of Zoom. So it could be 5 times as expensive, but it's an option compared to Zoom. Someone's asking, what if you already have a Zoom account that you pay for? So we make money the more you use Zoom, and Zoom charges us too. For some nonprofit events where you're not making any money at all, we can let you use your current Zoom meeting that you're paying $15 a month for and embed it into your Kiko event. So then you don't have to pay for the minutes. So if you fall in that category, please let us know. But you would have to have a Zoom meeting room for all your breakouts. Otherwise, you'd be using Kiko breakouts, which you would just pay us the same 60 cents per hour per person. So you can use your Zoom meeting room at the top. But we only offer that option for nonprofits that are doing public events or events that are not earning any money at all. Because we have to be strong for all the people who are relying on us. So we cannot give away these services and put the platform at risk. That's why there's no free option to use Kiko. It's our target customers, people who are using this to support their livelihood, facilitators that are using events. So we want to make money with you. We want you to charge for your events too.
Have you tried Blue Jeans?
Have not tried Blue Jeans. That would be an option compared to Zoom.
Can I just add another question about the events? Or have we already passed there?
Oh, please go ahead.
There was my second question about the edit options and uploading photos. And I just scrolled through the more option in the edit functions and I didn't see it on plain sight. So if you could just show me the—
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you, Friedrich. I'll click edit and then more options. And at the bottom, event design template. And if you don't have any templates yet, it will show you how to create them. An event design template is, I want to put some photos in all my rooms, but I also want to do this for many events. So I create a template for an event design, and then you can apply that template for many different events. So one client wants it to look like coffee shops. Another client wants it to look like a house. Another client wants it to look like gardens. So I'll put in images of the gardens and I'll click update. And let's see, that brings me back to the other event just because I was actually at that other event recently. So let me just go back, hit the back button. All right, now if I refresh, you see the gardens. So if every room is going to have a different garden picture, and you can customize that however you like. You could put logos of your sponsors or anything like that. So you create that event design template, and you can also create the event design templates here. When you click your name, event design templates, and then you can apply that event design template to any of your events.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The other question I have about events is when Sabrina and me want to like co-facilitate the meeting, how do we manage best our users' rights? Is it enough that one of like I or she has an account and then we can add each other as a guest with like full assistant rights? Or does it make sense that we both have an account and so on? What's the best option there to work, to collaborate?
Great. I'm going to go to, this is the time we talk about circles. So here's our circle. It's called Learn About QiqoChat, and a circle has many different events. All the events are listed here on the left. And the circle is for a group of people. So if you're working with one client and they have 100 employees, make a circle for them. and they would have multiple events. So every month or quarter, when you do something with them, it's a new event. And then you can manage control of who can do what in your circle. So your circle has several tools. It has the gardens, which we haven't talked about yet, but that's a very easy tool to understand. It's a very friendly place for people to connect informally. Your circle has a member directory. So here are all the people in this circle. You could search through the member directory. In your circle, you have the calendar that we were looking at, all the events. In your circle, you've got a document library. This one's off by default, but you could turn it on when you click Edit Circle Settings. And it's just different resources that you want to share. And you also have a newsletter, which you could turn on or off. Goes out every Monday, which says, here are the upcoming events in this circle for the next 3 weeks. And also here is any resources that were created last week. So to answer your question about each of your events, anybody who's an administrator of your circle is also an administrator of your event. And you can also let individual people be administrators of your event. So if you have an event in April and you have 10 people who you want to be able to record as a host or to go into Zoom as a host, when you edit your event, you could specify their email addresses, and only those people will be able to join the meeting as host. And you can see that here with admin controls. If you specify their email address, they see this button, but not everything else. They can't change the topics for the breakout rooms, but they can join as host. And when you join Zoom as host, you get the normal Zoom controls. You can prevent people from screen sharing. You can mute people. You can boot people. And you can record and other things. So you can either add Sabrina as an assistant administrator of your event, or up at in your circle, you can edit the circle settings and add her as an assistant administrator for your entire circle. Each circle has a garden. I'll talk about this for a moment if there was another question. So your events have a start time and an end time, but a garden, it's a place that people can go at any time to talk with each other about anything. If you think of a company that meets in a building, this could be the cafeteria, or it can be the water cooler or the kitchen. And then all you do is you land here. It's very simple. You click join video and you're on Zoom. If you get too many people in there, you've got a whole bunch of other gardens that people can go to. And you can customize these photos, and you can customize the names of these places. So this could say our company kitchen, the cafeteria, this could be the rooftop, and people can set the topics in these spaces. So it's like an open space event where anyone can set the topic at any time. And if you notice there's an interesting topic happening here, you just join that garden, and then you click join video, and then 2 clicks, you're talking to them with Zoom. It's very helpful for these remote times when you've got people all over. Let's see, QiqoChat.com/info, and we have a PDF which explains the difference between gardens and events. So here, this is about live video events that we've been talking about. Here's a picture of the gardens. So here are the Italian facilitators I mentioned, meeting there every Saturday, up to 100 people now. Keeps growing. So this document is pasted at the bottom right here, a PDF with the offerings on Kiko, plus my contact information, a Google group if you want to join to get all your other questions answered that pop up. It's just a few dozen people now who use Kiko, and they ask questions all the time. Some active communities you might want to join on QiqoChat, such as Liberating Structures, or the Dialogue community, or the Open Space community. Let's see what other questions we have. I think, oh, these are the right questions. These are the same ones here. Okay, because I didn't recognize this one coming down. So let's see. We talked about this. update a calendar entry. So the time has changed. So how do you update an event? You click edit and you can change the time there. Next, will you have more advanced training sessions? Definitely. I think we're going to follow this pattern of every Thursday we will have 2. And the next one starts in about 8 minutes, with some people might join. And it's going to be right here. So you don't have to go anywhere. Is QiqoChat a subcategory of Kiko? We just use it interchangeably. QiqoChat and Kiko, I say the same thing. I just use Kiko for short. Can you embed Miro or Mural? I know that you cannot embed Mural. And Miro, I don't know yet. If someone would like to share with me a link on Miro, we can embed it right now. And you'll see whether it works. And if it doesn't work, you get a gray face right here. It says, like a sad face. It says you cannot embed this website. And that's coming from them because they may not permit any embedding. If you want to add a Google presentation further down, let's see if I'm answering this question correctly. You can put that presentation all the way down here if you want. Just leave a few empty rows when you're editing. For the person that asked that question, did that answer it? I'll go and show it. Feel free to ask it again when you're editing all of your spaces. So this is where you add the title for the spaces. This is where you add discussion topics. This is where you add the notes pages. So you can add the Google presentation here. This is an example Google presentation. But if you wanted to put it down a few, you could just put a few empty rows. And so these will all be the default Etherpad documents. And we talked about garden circle. And so the person typing in now, feel free to just ask your question. Oh, here's a Miro link. Great. So we'll edit that and we'll see what it looks like. Fantastic. If I want to see who is writing, over on the right-hand side, you can see people's names. And this is where it's called Etherpad. You can even change your color. If 2 are similar, I can change mine to orange, save. So I come in a different color. I like the yellow. I'll go with that. Okay, we have the Miro link. And I'll click edit. More options. Notes page for all the breakouts. We'll put it down on table 2. I don't know if that slash is going to matter, so I'm also going to put it at table 3 without the slash. Just test. And I'll go to table 2, which happens to be called room 1. And it looks like it refuses to connect. If you right click and do inspect element and look for console, this is for software developers, you'll see something like X-frame options is set to same origin, meaning they do not allow you to embed anything that's not the same URL. So it's not Miro.com, they won't let it be embedded, unfortunately. I'll go ahead and remove that. Now, you could definitely ask them to, and you could say, will you please permit embedding on QiqoChat? I'm one of your paying customers, and they might permit that. That would be wonderful. All right, so we've gotten through all our topics there. The floor is open for additional questions. I'll show the group, the Google group. So this is where you can get help from me and many other people. And you can see it's pretty active. So today there were 4 different conversations that were going, and it's definitely heated up in April. So feel free to just ask questions, and you'll learn from all the other facilitators. And we're going to keep doing these free trainings here so that you feel like you have all the support you need. And if you're planning an event for next week, try it out on a Wednesday, because you know that if anything you don't figure out, you can come here on a Thursday and ask for your questions. People are free to go at any time. I'm going to just stay here till all the questions are answered. And I think some more people are probably going to join in a bit. So yes, Friedrich.
I've seen an example of my sister. She had like a playground space with an open space setup, and she used Google presentations, each breakout session having different slides. And I was wondering if I could, in the Kiko interface, copy and paste one slide from a breakout room to the main room to put it to the documentation, or if I need to do that in my Google Drive. On an external thing.
Okay, well, let's give this a shot. So if I click admin controls, I want to view all breakout notes. So I'll open up this, and it's going to show you all the notes from all of your tables. And right now we don't have any Google presentations in there yet. So I'm going to edit the event and put in some Google presentations. Moving Zoom out of the way, click edit, more options, and we want example agenda. It's a Google presentation. I will click more options, and I'll leave the first line blank because we have a notes page there. You can also set the slide. Each slide is going to have a different URL. So I click this one, the slide changes. I click this one, the slide changes. So I'm going to take slide 2 and put it as the second link. And slide 3, click it, copy the link at the top, and put slide 3 as the third link. So we'll save it. And when you go to look at those presentations, it's in room 1, 2, 3. So room 1, we see we're on slide 1. Room 2, it loads slide 2, and room 3, slide 3. And if we want to refresh the page that has all notes, then we'll start to see the Google Docs show up there. And now we'll try your suggestion. Can we copy and paste them? So I'm going to copy this one. And first I'll just try to paste it in here. Okay, it looks like pasting works fine in the document. If I want, let's say you had multiple different documents across all of these breakout rooms. So you can have people working in the same document, just different parts of it, or everybody can have a copy of the same document, or everybody can have a completely different document. So it's all about your art of how you would design a meeting. But I'll copy this one, and I'll just go up here, pretending these were from different presentations, and I'll just try to paste it here. Let's see, we have day 1 afternoon. Will it allow me to paste it? I think it, paste it in. It looks like I cannot paste across them. So you would have to do it from opening up in a new tab. Paste. Looks like I can't. But that would have been pretty cool. Other things I think you might be able to copy and paste if we had Google Drawings in there, possibly. It's worth experimenting. That's a new question I hadn't heard before. I'll stop sharing. So any other questions that people have? Any challenge, anything you want to, this is open. So if you want to say, well, I'm thinking about using it for this event, but I'm not really sure how it would go, this is a good time to ask those kinds of questions. We can get into more advanced design questions. And welcome, we have some new folks joining. So we're just kind of finished the intro part, and now we're into, well, thank you for saying hi. See you next time.
Thanks. Thanks to all.
Welcome, Nikki and Phelan. So I think someone had a question here. Let's go back to them.
So it was me, Lucas. Thank you. So I'm very impressed by the power that QiqoChat offers, and I work with a number of people who are not digital natives, shall we say. Are there any like videos for users on how to use QiqoChat so I could send something out before a meeting so they're not completely intimidated once they see all the options on their screens?
Yeah, so for the big events, I make a custom one. So like for the Linux Foundation that's going on today, they wanted 90 seconds, and I actually go through their environment. Click here, you'll see this logo, et cetera, et cetera. So the user guide, which is one of the links in our document, I'll go back to sharing my screen. And I'm going to go back to the main room where we had all those links. And at the bottom, user guide, click on guide. Here are some 2-minute video tutorials. The one that's most out of date is going to be the one that is about live events. I'll commit to getting that one better, just a basic one about live events, in the next 5 days.
Okay. Thank you, Lucas.
The floor is open for any additional questions. I know people are welcome to come and go as they need to.
I think I have to practice it, and then will appear questions.
Great, and you know I'll be here every week. So to get started, if you could just want to create your own event right here, you could do that for free. And then you can also create a circle. Here's what it's like to create a circle. You just put in the name of your circle and then your name. So it could be like joe-smith.QiqoChat.com or my-company. And then you create a circle, that's the address. And you just click the green button. Circles can be subcircles. So if you want a public circle and a private subcircle, that's also an option. That's where we can start getting to some interesting, how do you design your community? Do you want a public part? Do you want a private part? And then all the options for your circle, if you wanted to go in here. The defaults are pretty good, but you can customize a lot of different things. Upload a logo, colors, all the tools you can show and hide.
Maybe to follow up on this, on the privacy and public issue, what is on default public if I create a circle or a garden or an event, and what do I have to consciously put on private? I mean, we want to do this event. We have those 40 people or 30 we want to send them a link. They come, join as guests, easy peasy. But is there anything we need to take into consideration in terms of that it's like Googleable or any other things we have to think about privacy just for a single event?
Absolutely. So by default, circles are public and events are public. And then you can lock them down in a variety of ways. So we don't share all the links with Google. However, search engines can figure them out. When you get to a private circle, it'll say, please sign in to see if you have access. After you sign in, it'll say, you do not have access with this email address. Please contact the circle's creator if you think you should have access. So they will just see the name of the circle and they cannot get in. I'm going to create a blog post about this because many people have the same questions. So when you want to start locking down a circle or you want to lock down an event, I'd say the most common thing would be lock down a circle by email address. So only people with an email address that you specify. You can connect this to Eventbrite. So you can create a private circle or private event and then get paid through Eventbrite. People pay $50, $100, $200, whatever it is for your event. You collect the money from Eventbrite. But as soon as they register there, if you've completed the integration, which takes about 30 minutes to set up for the first time, maybe 15 minutes the second time, then they're going to receive an invitation to your Kiko event. It'll say, welcome, thanks for signing up. Here's the link to participate. Please add a photo to your member profile, something like that. So that is the best way to lock it down and you can get all the beautiful customization on Eventbrite, all the payment processing, messaging all your users, that kind of thing. To protect everyone's privacy, we don't share email addresses with anyone. So if you want your email addresses from your folks, collect them however you like. You can even message them through the platform, say, we want to make sure we have your email address on file. Please fill out this form, that kind of thing. Because some people will join a circle or another circle, and we don't want them to lose their privacy of their email address. Only thing that comes is going to be their name that people can see and their username. So by default, everything's public, and you have to kind of assume that it's public, and then you can make it private by saying only people with this email address.
And then they join as guests, or what do they have to press when they get on the first site from the Kiko link? I sent them a link to the event. Then there's those 3 options, and then is it logging with the email? What do they have to push?
So if you want anybody to be able to join, then they can sign in as a guest. They don't even have to put in their email. And I can demonstrate that here. I'm looking for something I saw in the Together today. Someone asked about this. Sign in from different devices. And someone posted this. If you were to go to this test meeting, and I'm going to open up in an incognito window. So I'm a guest. And here, this could be the first thing that someone sees. And this is if you choose to have the simple display. So they can sign in if they already have an account. They can create a new account, or they could join as guest. If they want to sign in, they don't have to remember a new password. You can sign in with many different options. And then if you want to join as guest, you just and then click save, and then click participate. So it's pretty easy. No need to enter an email address. You're in. And then once you click participate, you could join Zoom. Every Zoom meeting is locked down with a password, so people cannot guess it. You can change that password when you edit your event.
When I choose the option to only people can add according to the emails I selected beforehand, then the people need to enter that email at some point. And I wonder if it's also this step before, or where does it appear? I mean, I can just try and test it anyway.
That's an important question. So I'm going to open up QiqoChat.com/join. This is, if they came back, first I'll just sign out. We'll do that over again. I'll say log out. So if I'm logged out, they would click sign in, and you would not have this option, because if you want them to not come in as guests, then this screen won't show. And instead you see a screen like the one in our event called the RSVP page, and it'll be something like this. And if we log out, I'm logged out now. So it's sign in to RSVP or participate as guest. So they could still come in and participate as guests here. And if you want them to come in, so if they participate as guest and your event is locked down by email address, then there will be a message that says, you must have a confirmed email address on the list. And so then they can add their email to their account. There'll be something that pops up here, please add your email. And then they have to confirm that they have the email. They can't just put an email address that they think might work. So there'll be another message that says, please confirm your email. And then once their email is, so that's if you really want to lock it down by specific people. And the smoothest way to do that is to have something on Eventbrite. So register on Eventbrite, and immediately they become members of this event, and they get an email that says, welcome, here's the link to start your event. Here's the link to add something to your user profile. Friedrich, did that answer the question?
Yes, yes, it gave me plenty of ideas. I think we just try out different options and see
Great.
how it goes. Yeah, thank you.
So the floor is open for any questions.
Hi, Phelim here. Say, I'm just trying to work out like the systems of like the channels of cost and thing. Say you create a garden, which is a group of a certain. Say for instance, you create a garden that's there all the time. That you say to, I work in theatre, the improvisers of the world. That garden's there 24 hours. It's there. People can use it as a space. What happens when, for instance, some of your members of that group go to that garden and create an event where 350 people turn up and use the garden for 4 hours? What happens in terms of what are the implications of that for you for you as the host of that gardens?
Well, the first thing is Kiko will get charged by Zoom for every minute used. We get charged half a cent per minute per person, 30 cents per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want that to happen, then it's important to lock down your circle to just people that you trust.
Yeah.
Or you can turn off the garden.
Mm-hmm.
So you can create a circle. A circle has many events.
Mm-hmm.
And a circle has a garden that's always open.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just show that garden again. Say at demo.QiqoChat.com. Here's the garden. Or World Happiness Fest has one of these. This is an example where they got their logo and they branded it a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyone can come here and host that large event. And we're going to get billed, and we would pass the bill off to you. So to prevent that from happening, you can turn off your garden or just limit access to your circle to just people who are paying. So you can have one circle for people who are paying and another circle that's public for theater folks that does not have a garden.
Right.
One can be a sub-circle of another. I think that's a good way to set it up. Your public one is for anyone, and then the private one is a sub-circle. So you can help people move from free account into they pay per month. So also, you don't have to pay. They can pay. So you can create a circle that allows for anyone to join as long as they pay at least $3 a month.
Right.
So now, $3 a month, you don't pay anything. In fact, if you want to charge them $5 a month or $10 a month, you keep everything above $3 a month. So now they have unlimited access to a garden, and you didn't have to pay anything. In fact, you're making money off of it. You're able to set the membership fee. Great question, Phelim.
But it basically involves, there's trust involved in your community and how they treat that space. So you can set up a thing where you say, if you want to use these gardens for an event, talk to us about it, and we can talk about whether that's possible and what's going to happen and so on.
Yes, and I think that people probably be appreciative that you have the space, and they'd probably find a way to cover the costs.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier in the call before, so when folks were taking the basic training, I just mentioned that for nonprofit events where you're not making a profit, we can charge you just the Zoom costs that we're getting charged, which is half a cent a minute per person.
Yeah, cool.
Please do reach out to us beforehand about that. Thank you. Great. If you want to try jumping into another room, we can do that now. I'll stay here in the main room. So others who want to just see what it feels like, I'll stop screen sharing so it's easier for you to jump. Then behind Zoom is QiqoChat. And you could jump over to room 1. So you'll see my icon is there. And once you get there, there's a new green button at the top that says Join Video. And there's a little bit of friction at this point where Zoom has 2 pop-ups. One is in the browser that says, do you want to open Zoom? You say yes. And because you're already connected to the main room through Zoom, there's going to be a second pop-up which says, do you want to leave that meeting and join this one? And if you don't see it, then just close Zoom and press the green button again. Some systems don't allow you to jump easily between Zoom meetings. So you close Zoom and jump again. It looks like a lot of people are jumping over. All right, and then here we are in the main room. Welcome to stay here. I'll pause the recording at this time. Okay, so I'm going to record this question, which is excellent. So how do we become the host? So I'm going to share my screen, and if you want to become the host, there's another button that is visible when you click Admin Controls and Join Video as Host. So once you click that, the first person will be the host, the second person will be the co-host, third person will be the co-host. And the question is, who can access that Join as Host button? So it'll be anyone that is the creator of the circle, or the assistant administrators of the circle, or the person who created the event, or anyone that you specify as host of that event. So this would be helpful if you know specific people are going to lead sessions in each breakout room. You can put their email address here. I'll click Edit, and I'll go to More Options, and down to Security and Permissions. So here you can restrict access to the event itself with people who have confirmed email addresses. You would have to click Yes. But if you want someone to have that join video as host, you'd put them here. And now if they have a Kiko account that matches that email address, they will see the join video as host, and that will be right. It'll say admin controls, and then the only thing they see is this one. They don't see all the other admin controls. They just see join as host.
So Lucas, that leads on to the other question is, how do you set up we've got the circle set up. How do I add people to be assistant admins so that they can do that stuff as well?
To add people as assistant administrators of your circle, there's the create circle. So you could do it when you're creating the circle, or you can do it when you're editing the circle. I'll do it from editing the circle since you already have one. I'll go to demo.QiqoChat.com, which is one of my circles. And to find your circles also, it's over here. Click on your name, My Circles, you can see them there. So this is my circle. Currently the garden is the home page, but we're moving that to its own page. So the home page will just be very simple. Welcome to this circle. Here's the link to the gardens. Here's the link to the events. That's coming soon. So I click menu and then edit circle. Now I'm going to be editing the circle. I'll go down to more options and member access and assistant administrators. I'll click edit. The other ones are, this is where you charge people a fee. This is where you could turn on and off different tools that you want in your circle or not. Then you can have people, when they upload things, they can be tagged. You can customize the formatting by uploading a logo, these sorts of things. But the question is, for those that are just rejoining from the breakout room, how do we make someone an assistant administrator of the circle? You edit circle, more options, and then member access and assistant administrators. Click edit here, and then as mentioned before, it's not beautiful, but it's just functional. And you're looking for privacy, correction, it's right up here. Assistant administrators, just paste in their username, not their email address. You need their username. So if they change their username, they would have to re-edit it here. But first they create their account on Kiko, they give you their username, and then you put it here. That's the short answer, Jamie. Great question.
Could I just add to that? So if we, for instance, were doing an exercise in changing names in Zoom, that wouldn't have an impact on names here, would it?
Exactly correct. When you change your name in Zoom, it is not related to changing your name in Kiko. Okay. By default, when you open Zoom, by clicking a green button in Kiko, it will show your Kiko username. We don't listen for any name changes in Zoom and update that way. Very reasonable question.
Thank you.
The floor is open for additional questions. How do we do? Looks like everybody came back.
I just wanted to flag something. In moving from the main room to the breakout room, there's a little box that comes up and sometimes it gets hidden.
Yes.
So it's behind the layers of either the Zoom room or the Kiko room, and I couldn't find. So I went ended in a bit of a loop clicking because I didn't think it was working. So I think it's about it's a message from Zoom. Would that be right?
Exactly. I should ask Zoom. I mean, they've got now 200 million new customers, but hopefully they listen and they say, bye, Nikki. Hopefully there must be others that experience the same thing, that when you're already in one Zoom meeting and you want to go to another, there's a pop-up that comes from Zoom, which says, do you want to leave that other meeting? And sometimes that is behind the main Zoom window. So the solution is to close Zoom and click the green button again. That doesn't happen for everybody, and it's hard to predict who it's going to happen for, but people won't have that problem when they first come to your event because they're not connected to another Zoom meeting. So once they click join video for the main table, you've got them and they're good. And when you invite them to go to another breakout, they will experience that problem if it's going to happen to them. And the good thing is you're right here with them. So anyone that had that problem that couldn't get past it would have just been here with me, and they'd say, I don't see that pop-up. And at that point, as the host, I'd say, that's normal. Just close Zoom, try again, and you're in.
Cool.
And any additional help is here. Download Zoom. After downloading Zoom, close it. Do not enter a meeting ID. Just use the green button up above. And if the video doesn't open, click here, open Zoom in a new tab, and then the same process. This is how people normally join Zoom, not in Kiko. So I'll close this. So there's just more help if they have the patience to try another way. If you're on some tablets, you're going to have to manually enter the meeting ID. If there's a password, it will be displayed here. And then if you're calling in by phone, there's the phone number and there's the meeting ID and the password if applicable. And then here are the international dial-in numbers.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Phelan. I'm going to put this on pause, and so I'll stop sharing and then pause the recording if anyone wants to ask any questions.
But I pay for the subscription for the account on Zoom. Do they charge you for the main room anyway? Even if I add my Zoom address in the
Excellent question.
field?
As I mentioned, that for some nonprofit events where people are not making any money, we can work with you and take your Zoom meeting, your pro account, $15 a month, and attach it to the main room. And if you have friends, you can also attach one to room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then people just open, when they click that green button, they'll open your Zoom meeting and it won't bill QiqoChat at all. So we don't lose any money. We don't have to pass that cost on to you.
So but if I then click on other rooms, then
yes,
Zoom
exactly.
will start charging you for it.
Exactly. You have any number of rooms here. I've seen one with 100 breakout rooms, and Zoom will charge us per minute per person, half a cent a minute per person, and we charge 1 cent per minute per person.
And that you could charge me. Is that
exactly? So it could be a hybrid of your pro account in the main room or others, and then billing per minute on all the other rooms.
Yeah,
and to see
because that's how I want to try it out.
Fantastic. And you get 1,000 free minutes when you sign up. So that's 500 people for 2 minutes or 50 people for 20 minutes. And if you click here, you could see your billing, and you could see all the billing for the circles and events that I've created. And then it shows you per meeting, per room, how many minutes were used.
And the billing is 1 cent per minute in the rooms per person.
That's right. And for private circles, we charge $1 per month per person.
Who
For public,
attends to the circle?
for circle.
Yeah.
If
For
you're
circle, not the people in the circle.
$1 per month per person, so 100 people would be
Yeah.
extra $100 per month.
Yeah.
And as you get over 100, that cost goes down per person. If you have an event that is, you can also make an event that's outside of a circle. So my events here. And then if you create an event that's outside of a circle, if it's public, then there's no charge. If it's private and you lock it down, it's the same as if you did it in a private circle, $1 more per person. It's normally a monthly charge, but because your event is not longer than a month, it's just $1 extra. And this billing,
I would have to see that in an Excel sheet or something. I get
absolutely
confused.
Everybody gets confused about that. We're a company that is trying to meet the demand, and this is one area where I admit we are not clear. All the billing is here at the bottom of the homepage. It's explained here, and there's not a lot to it, but there are a lot of variables, so it takes some time for someone to sit with it. And please reach out over email. People ask me all the time, these are the parameters for our event. How much is it going to cost? We're going to put a cost calculator here soon. Working on, currently our top priorities are giving you an option other than Zoom. So that's going to be Whereby and potentially Google Meet. And then also translation into 5 languages. So the languages, Dutch is about halfway done. And this is all done by people who use QiqoChat. But French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Swedish are looking good. So they'll all go in the next few days. And if your language is not here, I'll put the link in our meeting. So you can just add a column and we'll put it in more languages. That link will go here, down at the bottom. And that'll be per person. So you could be in the same event, someone's looking at the instructions in French and someone's looking at the instructions in German.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, please, Nikki.
So looking at the QiqoChat the page that we're looking at now that you're sharing, there are 5 people who are in the main room, but they don't have camera icons on them. Does that mean they haven't come in?
There's 2 things that can happen here. So eventually this will be very accurate, but right now we only show the camera icon as soon as someone clicks this button. So I've clicked around a bunch of places, so it's removed my camera icon here, even though I'm still connected. So, but this is kind of uncommon because we're doing a demo. So I'm going to click this button and then my icon will pop up. There it is. I'm going to click cancel because I don't need to go back into Zoom. And then Zoom is going to give us a confirmation that I actually joined the meeting. And then once we receive that confirmation, we will remember that until we hear otherwise from Zoom that this person has left the meeting. But some people that are here might have been here more than an hour. And if we don't get that confirmation from Zoom within an hour, we take off their video icon.
Okay. So I'm just for instance, we're hosting something on Saturday, which is probably going to have between 60 and 100 people attending. And some of them will not be very tech savvy, some of them will be. And it's just being able to sort of try and judge if we're losing people, if they've fallen off and they're not able to get in, or whether we can help them, or, you know, so if, for example, with that, how is there a way that we can tell? I mean, it doesn't, so for instance, it says on here, we've got 11 participants, but there are 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cameras on and 4 not there, 4 with no camera.
These folks might have turned their camera, they might have left the meeting, but kept the Kiko page open. And so this is intentional. It just means that they still have the page open, but they're not on audio video.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty common.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's a live conference that's public, so I'm not sharing anything private. The Linux Foundation. This is wrapping up now. I think they're doing a happy hour. So you can see there's a few people on video. This is a 3-day conference, so it's just the wrap up. And there's some people in the main room. And you can see I'm there, but that's just because I have the page open. And some people in this room and some in that room. And the other people have just left the page up on their computer.
Okay.
Friedrich, also a question?
Thank
Yes.
you. That's good.
Thanks. I just tried to make Sabrina co something so we can collaborate together on our event. And now that we try to start doing it in practice, we're a bit lost where and how to do it exactly. I figured out how to make her a Zoom host. But is there, can she get any, like the specific rights to also create and insert slides and all of that for different rooms?
Yes, the way to do that is to make her an administrator of your circle. You've made her the ability to have a Zoom host. So I will go to, this is the event. And if I want to go to the circle, learn about QiqoChat, I'll click edit. And this is, to state the question again, it's you'd like her to have more ability than just starting the Zoom meeting as the host. So now you're going to give her the ability to be an administrator across all of your events. So any event that comes in, not only can she be a host, but she can also change the topics. She can delete events that other people create. So you update your circle, and you can get any place that has this menu bar. That's where you can edit circle settings. So we're editing the circle, updating the circle. We go down to more options and member access and assistant administrators. This is where you add an assistant administrator and just add her name. It would be exactly what it looks like when you click on her profile, and not her email address. And then when you save that, she will have all the power that you have, except she will not be able to delete the circle, which is over here.
Okay, so the options look a bit different on my Win 10 Firefox thing. So I don't really find the entrance to the editing my circle options.
I think there are 2 edit pages. So one is editing your event. We'll go back to the event. Here.
Yeah.
Here. Oh, yes. Sounds good. Sounds like my house.
Yeah.
So I click calendar. So you can edit any event. Let me just go back in to, this is a similar event. Click edit. So this is one editing interface. It'll say update your event, but you're looking for the one that says update your circle. And it's a simple one to remember. It's just /edit. So after your circle name, just put /edit if you can't find it that way. Great. Any additional questions? I got plenty of time. Happy to keep answering.
You might have already gone through it, but so can you just talk us through what happens if you're on a mobile phone?
Leah, no one's asked this question. Thank you for asking it. Okay, great. You can join Zoom. You can participate on Kiko. Bye, Friedrich. But it's going to be hard to jump between breakout sessions. So I would set people's expectations that you can absolutely join with Zoom on, but if you want to start typing in the area where we're typing our event, let's see, I'm going to go back to our events. And April 22nd. Oh, I'm in a different circle. Learn.
Do you have any screenshots or guides that kind of just give a quick overview of it, or is?
Yes, over here I'm going to get back to our event and then I'll show you. This is our event. Down here, you will see a link to some of these helpful resources like the user guide.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't answer this question about mobile phone. I will make an entry in there. When people come in through mobile, their screen is going to be much more narrow. So the event will kind of look like that. The breakout rooms are here. The join video button is at the top, moving Zoom out of the way. So once they join video, they have to be pretty good at their phone to not quit Zoom, but then if they want to go to another breakout room, getting back here and clicking it. And I think that's pretty hard. So I'd say if people want to be editing the documents down there, they should not be on their mobile phone, but they can call in and listen. That's manageable. You just won't be on the video.
Yeah. If they, for example, just wanted to be on Zoom, could you give them a list of like Zoom links for each room?
Absolutely. Here you go. As the admin, you can do that. I'm going to go back to the event RSVP page. So this is where you all RSVP'd. And this info is right here. The call-in info for all breakouts. That'll take a while to load. And you'll see all the links for the meeting IDs. Well, this is just something that you could copy and paste into an email. Okay. Here's some info to help make sure you have a smooth experience. Here are all the room names. That's because I'm using a template called Gardens that we applied earlier in the call. And then here are the meeting IDs and the phone number. You're also going to see a password here. This event was created before we applied passwords. So it'll add security to your event. The passwords will be listed here. It's going to be the same password for all of your room, but a different meeting ID for each of your room. So that's the way they can get in, Leanne.
Sorry, just to clarify, so if they clicked on the Central Garden Zoom link, it would tell you what the password was.
That's right. See, okay. This is hard to see in my screen, but all the way down at the bottom left, when I hover, you could see the Zoom link is changing for each of these.
Okay.
And if there was a password on this meeting, you would also see $PWD for password, and then a very long string. Even though your password might be 1234, they give you a very long string for the encrypted password. So people would just click on it. So this would be something you paste into an email, and then they click on it from the email, and it will launch Zoom directly. It'll look like this. So I'll click on it, and it launches Zoom. They see a page like this. I'm already talking to you in Zoom, so I'm not going to click OK. I'll click cancel.
Right.
So, sorry, Lucas, how did we get to this page that you're showing us? Oh, that's just down the side of the main page. Okay.
Yes, it is. So here's where we're participating. I'll go click Event RSVP page.
Okay.
And this is where you got in. So everybody was here, and then they quickly clicked participate to get into the event. And this is just for administrators. That button, I have to move Zoom out of the way here. So call in info for all the breakouts. That's just for you. Other people cannot see it.
Okay.
If you update your event and you make more breakouts or less breakouts, if you apply a template, you'll probably want to click this again to regenerate it. It's because it might add a few more at the bottom. It won't change any of the Zoom links, but it might add some or hide some if you decide you only want 5 breakout rooms.
And if you add host or admins to your event, will they be able to see that too?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Correction. If you add admins to your circle, yes. But if you allow people to be the host of the Zoom call, the only thing they can do that's extra is just click admin controls, and they will only see this. They will not see anything else.
Okay.
If you're in an event where you want people to be able to record, you can give everyone this ability. And you just do that by clicking Edit, More Options, Security, Zoom Video Hosts, let any participant host the Zoom video chat. And that's good in case you want a recording in every room. They'd have to go in as the host and then click record, or they go in as the host and allow someone to record. Because you have the ability to be the host, you can go into each one and give people that ability to be host. And when you get there, you can also turn off screen sharing so that if you have a public event, there's a risk that you're sharing this link on Twitter. It says QiqoChat.com, here's our event, join us on Zoom. People might find it and might attempt to disrupt it. So you wouldn't want to let anyone host the Zoom video chat if it's a public event, not people you trust. As I mentioned, for private circles, you can lock that down $1 a month per member. And I was explained a little earlier in the video, and I'm happy to explain it again. Yes, Mike, question.
I only want to say bye-bye and thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for participating today.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, great question, Jamie. So the question is, how do we pull anyone back from a Zoom meeting that they're in? On Kiko, we can't pull them back in to any meeting, any different breakout room that they're in. But so there's a few things that we can do. So number one, we can go into admin controls and say, notify breakout rooms, like you saw me do today. Please return. And we could send out a message like that. People see it on their screen, but only if they're on Kiko. If they're on Zoom, they're not going to see it. And you can set the timer. This is what I'd recommend. So just let people self-regulate. You could stay in your breakout room, but please come back when we hit here down to 0 minutes. So they'll at least know that they're supposed to, I mean, they're free to stay or go, but that you'd love to have them back at the main area. Additionally, if you use breakout rooms inside this Zoom meeting, so we're in a main room and it has a Zoom account, a Zoom meeting going on. If you are the host, you can have Zoom breakouts that you normally have at any other Zoom breakout meeting. Any other meeting has Zoom breakouts, so you can use that. And that's how you can push people to breakouts and pull them back. But it's not going to be these breakouts. It's just going to be breakouts inside this Zoom meeting. Now, nothing says you can also just say, well, okay, if you're in room, the breakout room in Zoom could be called room 1, and they can go down here and they can work on this document, or the people in room 2 can go on this document, but they just wouldn't click join video because they're already where you want them to be. And then if you do it that way, using Zoom's breakouts inside a Zoom meeting, then you can pull them all back at the same time. That's complex.
Great, thanks, Lucas.
The most I would recommend using Zoom breakouts for is using it at the main room for maybe 2 rounds of impromptu networking for a minute or 2 or 3. People in groups of 3 rather than groups of 2, just in case someone doesn't show or declines to join the breakout room from Zoom. So you run a round of impromptu networking, then pull them all back, do it again, and now everyone's right there at the main room. They didn't have to click anywhere. Now you've warmed them up, maybe did an icebreaker, and now you can break them out into the rooms where they move themselves. But those breakout rooms you could do inside the main room would be Zoom's internal. Great, thanks, Jamie.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Lucas. Very helpful.
I look forward to seeing what you create. You've got my contact information on that page. I'll end the recording now. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm at lucas@QiqoChat.com if you have any additional questions. Bye.